2. I think we're live. We're going to check if we're live. If we are live, yep, it says we're live. So let's check and make sure.
All right.
We're checking our pages and letting you all get on. Give you a couple more minutes to get on here and then we'll start chatting. Okay, we got some thumbs up. So you all must see us then. We must be live. All right. Well, welcome guys. I am Shea Durfey and I am here with probably one of my most favorite people in the entire world and a dear friend of mine, Paige Murray. So a little bit about Paige, because she won't brag on herself because she's way too humble. I have a big list written here of stuff. She was NASCAR Miss Sprint Cup. Yeah, that's right. She was the Bachelorette on CMT Sweet Home Alabama. She was a TV host and reporter for Ride TV. Had her very own cooking show called Southern Fried Skinny Fried. She was the ERA sideline reporter on Fox Sports. She's a brand ambassador. She has a self-published cookbook on Amazon called Southern Fried Skinny Fried. She is also a mom of an almost 2-year-old, which we know is so busy. And she is married to many-time all-around world champion Ty Murray. So thank you for being on here with us today, Paige.
Thank you, Shea, for having me. And I'm so happy to see your face.
I know this is normally we catch up probably once a month for coffee and let the girls play. There is a cute little cafe between where we live, so we get to go and let the girls play and have a little bit of mum time.
Yes.
So we want to just come on here for you girls. We get so many people asking us questions, and we kind of want to just have some real time. We're both married to Ty's now retired, but he definitely travels still with his schedule and doing his TV stuff, and then Tyson's on the road. So we are both mums of children who are busy, and it's hard sometimes. It's really hard being a mom and a woman. So I kind of wanted to ask you, Paige, a little bit about your experience, because I know that you were in a completely different world. I remember many years ago when we didn't know each other, we were talking on Facebook, and I don't know if you were single or had a breakup or something. And I said, you need to move to Texas and marry a rodeo cowboy.
Yeah.
And, I just said a rodeo cowboy. I didn't say rodeo cowboy. But you definitely married a good one.
Yeah, how ironic that you mentioned that. And I moved to Texas to work for Ride TV in October of 2014. And then 2 months later at the NFR, we were in Vegas, and I met Ty at the contestant after party, and we've been together ever since. And when I first started talking to him, I said, I'm Paige, I work for Ride TV. I'm sure we would love to talk about how we can collaborate with you and do some things with you. And I gave him my email. And a funny story, I didn't want him to think I was hitting on him, so I didn't give him my phone number, but gave my email. He left, so I only spoke to him about 2 minutes. Well, the next morning, my girlfriend, Carly Twistman, called, and she said, hey, Ty Murray just called me, and I think he thinks I'm you, and he asked me to dinner, but I think he meant to ask you. And so that's a long story, but we laugh about it to this day. He called the wrong friend, and he took me out in Vegas, and then his flight got canceled the next day, and it's just everything just fell into place. I just moved, an hour and a half from the ranch here in Stephenville, and we've been together since. And I just feel so thankful. Besides, having Oakley and meeting Ty are the two best things that have ever happened in my life. And so I just feel really blessed how it all worked out. And it's a fun life. Yeah, Ty, like you said, Ty is retired from rodeo, but he still does he works as the analyst for the PBR broadcast for the major events.
Yeah.
So we don't have to travel as much as we used to. And then honestly, we'll get into this, I'm sure, but I traveled with him when Oakley was a few months old. I went to all of them that I could go to with him still. But after a while, I was like, I'm too tired. I can't make it. So I haven't been on the road in a while.
Yeah, it's funny because, And social media and stuff makes things look way easier, because even when I travel with my girls, like I just flew home from Montana by myself with the 2 girls, and I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's a challenge. And then, like you said, going with him, and then they get tired and it's late at night. And I mean, like, I know for me, there was several things being a mom that I had no idea about. And I'm like, man, I wish somebody would have had to warn me about that, so I could have even just like mentally prepared. What are some things that, you wish somebody had told you pre-babies?
Yes, and I'm so thankful I had you to talk to, a close friend that already had a child and could give me some advice, because I feel like when you're newly pregnant and you're going to have your first child, you don't know anything, and you're searching everywhere for any advice, any answers you can get. And so that was really helpful having you. And honestly, the things I think about, I wish someone had told me. Everyone's experience is so different. So I even have a hard time telling some people, I had the worst anxiety after she was born. I was so scared she was going to suffocate in her swaddle. And then I was exhausted to the point that I've never been exhausted like that before, but I had insomnia. I couldn't sleep because I was so worried about her and so tired, and my mind was racing, but I couldn't sleep. And it was the hardest week of my life, that first week, and it was hard for several months. And so, I wish someone had told me that, but when you hear advice like that, you always kind of think, well, my situation will be different. It won't be like that for me. And maybe some women don't get anxiety, so I don't want to worry them. So it's really hard to talk about the tough things.
But I guess the part of that is, like, I didn't get it. You got it. We both felt like we were going to have really similar pregnancies. And we both stayed fit. And when I was giving you advice, I was thinking your pregnancy and everything would be the same as mine, because we were so much alike. But it makes you realize that it's normal kind of to be. And every pregnancy is different too. Like my girls, the pregnancy was the same, but like Praise was an easy baby. In the first month Risen was born, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I was like, I am done having kids. Like, Risen had a lip tie, a tongue tie, and 2 teeth ties. So, I mean, I really struggled that first month because she would just scream and couldn't sleep. And it was really rough.
Yeah.
And I actually went to a all-natural doctor in Fort Worth. It's called Mummies and Me Chiropractic. And I went there, and she was actually the one who found the tongue tie and lip ties. My pediatrician didn't find it. And I thought I was just crazy, because I was like, this is just insane, because like, I know I'm a good mom. Yes. I know I'm not giving her too much milk or eating the wrong thing, but I still couldn't keep my newborn happy. But I think it's like, it's getting second opinions like I did with my girls. If I hadn't done that, then, Risen would have had all sorts of issues, further.
And I definitely think going with your gut, and when something's off or something doesn't seem right, getting a second opinion. And then one piece of advice that really stuck out to me, only one friend of mine that I grew up with, went to high school with, she wrote me and she said, I just want you to know, if you don't feel like you're in love with your baby as soon as you have her, that it's okay. She said, I didn't feel that. She said, but 8 months later, it's the best thing I've ever done, and I can't imagine life without my child. And I kind of had a similar experience. It was so hard, and the minute she's born, you would die for her, but it was like I was just in survival mode, and I didn't even have any energy or mental capacity to feel like the love that has just grown and is overwhelming now. And so I think that was a neat thing that no one ever talks about, that you get to know your child and you don't know them. And if you don't feel that instantaneous like love feeling that you're expecting, and you feel sad and down, that it's normal and that it will pass.
It's funny because you say that, because I still remember, like, okay, I mean, I have 2 little girls, and I didn't find out what either one was. Yeah. So I just knew, I knew they both were boys, which I was so wrong, but I just knew Risen was for sure a boy. Mm-hmm. So I remember when she was born, and I felt so terrible. I literally, as she came out and they gave her to me and they said it's a girl, I like looked at Tyson and I said, I'm sorry, babe. But I mean, the funny thing about it, when I think about it now, the boy chooses the sex of the baby, so he should have been saying that. I wasn't sorry that she was a girl, because I mean, and I'm so grateful she's a little girl, but there's just a lot of emotion, just a lot. And the same thing, it's like, everybody would say, like, when they're born, it's like you couldn't love anything more. And
Yeah.
you love them with your soul, but it takes a little while to know them. Like, I didn't. It takes a while to know them and to really feel like you have that connection. That's one thing, I guess, if someone was to give me advice again, that's one thing I'd want to know. That I'm not just a terrible mother. I do love my child.
Yeah.
But,
and then something that's also surprised me that I didn't expect with being a mom, and I hope a lot of you moms are tuning in and you can relate to us, because it really helps me to relate to other people and read other people's stories and hear their experience. But how big of a paradox being a mother is. It's like I've never had such conflicting feelings and emotions. I've never been happier in my life, but also sad. I've never felt such a sense of purpose, but at the same time felt like I lost my identity and who I was.
mm-hmm.
I've never been prouder of something, but at the same time, you're wondering, what am I accomplishing? And it's just, you just long for moments where you can have your brain to yourself and your body to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and just
go to the toilet by yourself.
Yeah, toilet. But I mean, soon as I take her over to Mimi's house or put her down for a nap, it's like I'm looking at pictures of her and I can't wait to go pick her up. So it's like you want this time, but you don't want the time. And so it's been the biggest paradox of so many conflicting feelings that I've never experienced before. Yeah. And really trying to, you do a lot of self-reflection and you reevaluate what's important to you. And it's a adjustment that it took me 18 months to start feeling a little more like myself, but I have to realize I'm never going to be myself that I was before a baby. A part of you changes and your heart changes and your whole world changes, and you'd never make decisions anymore without your child being involved in those decisions you make. You don't make your own decisions anymore, and it's true that they're your heart, like you're seeing your heart outside of your body. Yeah. It's amazing and hard. And I wanted to share this quote. I read it today and I thought a lot of people might like this too. When you're going through the hard times of motherhood, when you're exhausted, which has been my biggest problem. And when I get exhausted, I get tired and sad, or I get sad. And so I've had to realize that the sadness isn't a result of something that's happened to me. It's just because I'm tired. And so when you can pinpoint where your emotions are coming from, and so you're not, the sadness doesn't spiral until you feel depressed because you feel like your life's just, hard and you're never going to get to do things you enjoy. But you realize once I get some sleep, I'll feel better. But I really like this quote, and it's by L.R. I think you say it is Nost. It says, life is amazing, and then it's awful, and then it's amazing again. In between the amazing and the awful, it's ordinary and mundane and routine, but you breathe in the amazing, hold on through the awful, and relax and exhale during the ordinary. That's just living, heartbreaking, soul healing, amazing, awful, ordinary life, and it's breathtakingly beautiful. And I just, that really speaks to me. Like you talked about all of our accomplishments, and I've accomplished everything I wanted to do, but when you have a child, your identity does change, and everything goes on the back burner for me. She's my first priority, and it's like I'm living right now in a moment of just ordinary and routine and mundane, and you feel like, and you were too. And then you got to come out with your single, your song, and just some, and my, I want to start working on a children's book, but it's just, you have to put kind of your dreams, you have to find the right time for them, and know that this is your season in your life, and your main job is to be a mom right now.
And I think what's important though, Paige, with that is, like, I agree 100% because I was there just recently, and it's funny because our kids aren't too far apart, but I've been there, and you have to realize that's a stage in life, but you also have to not let go of your dreams and passions, and know that God gave them to you for a reason. And my biggest reason that I ever got back into the music industry was so I can show my girls that I can be a mother as well as live my dreams. Yes. And that's really important because, like, the last few years, I've been in that exact same place. Mm-hmm. I'm too busy. My kids need to go first. I'm better off probably just running my businesses because I know I'm guaranteed that they can make money to provide for my family, blah, blah, blah. Support my husband as a good wife. But we also have to realize that as women, we can wear more than one hat. Yes. It's like it takes, when I first got back into music and decided I was going to do it about 8 months ago, it was really scary and really challenging because I just didn't know how I was going to do it all. And I almost felt selfish, if that makes sense. I felt selfish that I was doing something for myself again. And I think it's really important that as women, we can't feel selfish for doing stuff for ourselves. There is a time in life where we raise our kids and stuff, but when they get to the age that you feel like you're able to do stuff, you have to continue to find your own identity so you don't get lost in that. Because, you know, if you look at some of the women that we look up to them because they did that. They continue to follow their dreams. And I look at you, and I admire so much about what you do, and you've given up so much to have Oakley and to be a great wife. And you're like Betty Crockett of all wives. You're just like amazing at everything. And I look at that and it makes me so proud of you. And I know that like with your cookbook and things like that, I'm excited that you still did that. And can't wait to see what that next, you know, point in life brings you to, because, you know, you just have to make sure that you get time to dream still, because you can't get lost in just being a mother. It's important we can be great mothers, and you're very hands-on, but we can also be great business women and successful at what we do. And, you know, I look at even watching, you know, neither of us, people like, oh, well, you're so lucky you bounced back good after baby, blah, blah, blah. We both know our challenges that we had, like we had our children, and you might walk out of the hospital. We were lucky. We didn't gain a bunch of weight. I mean, I don't know how much you gained, but I still gained like 32 pounds. And, you know, it wasn't in my genes I only just lost my pre-baby weight with Risen the other day, and she's 18 months old. But I mean, it's even finding the time to work out. I am doing that. I'm like, I'm so selfish working out right now. And I mean, when you first started working out, I mean, what did you feel like?
So, and going back to what you said, everything you said is such great advice. And I was just talking to Ty, my husband, about that and saying, you know, you have to keep an identity aside from being a mother, because your goal is to raise your children to be independent and go out on their own, and you'll have to find your identity again. And so I think it's so important too to keep chasing your passions and your dreams. And I guess what I would advise for that, and like working out or anything that I've done, is there comes a time when it feels right and not stressful. And if it's causing you more stress by working on your cookbook or trying to work out, then take a step back, you know, give it some time. They go through phases so fast, and wait until you can do that again. Or try to seek out help from someone you trust, whether it's a grandparent, or if you get them in a little wee school or something like that, to make some time. And so I think when you can get those things lined up, it can help you. And as far as when I started working out again, the things that I really loved were any type of workout I could do with Oakley. So I can put her in the jogging stroller and we can go for a 4-mile run. I can hike with her. And then I started just, you know, I'd go into the gym and I'd do my workout and let her play and give her stuff to entertain her. And it kind of became her normal. Where I always reevaluate what I'm doing is whether it's if I'm trying to do a cookbook, trying to do anything that takes any mental or physical like concentration. If I start finding myself getting frustrated at Oakley because she's interrupting something, then I say, okay, they're innocent and nothing she's doing it should not be frustrating me. I have to teach her through this.
That's good.
If I get off my bike or stop lifting weights and say, here, let's play with this. Let's, and help her through this, because they're learning everything. They don't know how to be little humans. And so I started, if I wanted to do a workout and she would start maybe whining or wanting to go out, I had to say, okay, I'm going to get up earlier. I'm going to get up at 5:30. She doesn't wake up till 6:30 and get my workout in before she gets up. And then if I'm trying to do anything like a cookbook or work on anything I really enjoy, I make sure I take her over to her Mimi's house or something, just so I don't like that feeling I feel when I get frustrated at her, and it's unwarranted and it's not fair to her. And so that she's my first priority as a job. She's my first priority, and then everything else that I still try to do, I want to figure out how to do it where I'm not feeling any frustration towards her and anything like that. So that'd be my advice when working out. But just like you do, you incorporate your children, you use them as weights, you can involve them.
You just don't get time otherwise. And honestly, like, And like you said, don't feel bad if you don't get to, because there's some nights I'm so tired by the time I put the kids to bed, and I know I should go get the workout, and I just don't. Like you and I have texted about it. I'm like, Paige, I just have no motivation. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And I'm a trainer, like, and we, it happens to all of us. But what you said about not getting frustrated and stuff is really good there, because even I take that advice, because there's times I get so wrapped up doing my stuff and the kids come in and want to interrupt, and you're like, give me a minute. And it's like, no, they don't understand. Let's help them understand and let them realize mommy's doing something. What do you need? And just talk through it. Like, I do think that's huge advice right there. I mean, if I take anything from this Facebook and podcast, it's that. I mean, that's great advice there. And, I think that, one thing I get asked a lot is, for moms out there that have little babies is, what do you eat? Like the one question I get is probably, you don't have kids probably too much, but like, what do you eat when you're breastfeeding? Because I mean, I don't know if people know, but it's probably, again, too much information, but I nursed Grace till she could nearly talk. She was almost, and then when Paige, she weaned her little girl right before she was 1, and I'm like, I'm going to do that this second time with Risen. And Risen's 18 months and still nursing. So I'm like the worst at stopping my kids nursing. I just love that bond, and I'm lucky enough that I am able to work from home, but it's really hard because I can't leave Risen. I've never had a night away from her. But I mean, that being said, I've always been able to nurse quite well. So I mean, the advice on that is a lot of oatmeal, almonds. To start with, you're eating like, I thought I was just gonna, well, not literally die, but I was just like, this is awful the first couple of weeks, because I had to eat like so bland. It was like fried toast, oatmeal, no fruit, no vegetables. And I was talking to my girlfriend in Australia just the other day, and she was struggling with that with her newborn. And I said, well, you need to cut out the dairy. And I was telling her all the things to cut out. And she's like, so what can I eat? I'm like, well, I mean, dry toast, almonds, oatmeal, kind of stuff. But that too.
It's so specific. Yeah, it's so specific too to each woman. Like I didn't have to cut out anything. I just made sure to eat healthy food. So I didn't cut out any food groups, but I ate like whole grains, lean meats, healthy fats, and a lot of fruits and vegetables. And, you just have to feel for your baby, because like I did have a hard time nursing, and I couldn't pump. I couldn't get enough out. So that's why I was like, it was just really challenging for me, but I made enough to feed her, and that was all that mattered. But like spicy foods, I could eat anything, and nothing bothered her at all. So just trial and error, and feel for your baby. And if you're noticing that they're more fussy after a certain meal, like try not eating that again, and just, just see, it's just a trial and error thing, and everybody's so different.
Yeah. And it's, I think what I love about the community that we're in is I feel like it's that Western way of life. And I know that the world is just so uncertain right now, whether it's a virus or riots or whatever it is, but it's just like so uncertain right now. And it's really nice to be able to have the Western way of life to fall back on. And, that's one thing that I'm so grateful for, because I know that there's a lot of people people are listening, you may live in the city, and you mightn't have the luxury of living on a ranch and things like that. But I know that right now, with the way life is, I'm just very grateful to have this Western way of life in the country culture. Yeah.
And, I've always idealized the West, out West, and I've always romanticized it. And, I knew I wanted to live out here on a ranch, and meeting Ty was just like, oh my gosh, the answer to all my dreams. And I absolutely love living the Western lifestyle. And I feel like raising a child on a ranch is so special. And there's so many life lessons that a child can learn by living on a ranch, and it's, responsibility. And people that don't live on a ranch can incorporate that into helping their children be more responsible around home with their chores. And then something I think that's invaluable on a ranch is learning about life and death. And there's a lot of life and death that happens on a ranch. And I think it teaches children about that. And, I don't know how it'd be really hard to learn your first lesson with that when it was like with another human that was really important to you. And so learning that through your animals, and then learning about yourself, like going through puberty and seeing animals grow up, and the seeing reproduction on the ranch. It teaches you so many things that are uncomfortable, I guess, to kind of learn on your own. And so there's so many amazing lessons here.
It brings good talking points with your children.
It does. It makes it easier.
We accidentally left Praise's chickens out. I know you've experienced this too. We left them out overnight, and a raccoon got to one, and so she tells all her friends that the raccoon left the chicken but took its head. It's just kids do the darndest things. Like we always taught Praise in the barn, like if she's seen a spider, like to squish it with her shoe, like a bug. And I still remember when she was like, maybe she was just over a year, maybe 18 months old. And these kids at a rodeo were playing with a grasshopper, and it was like their little pet grasshopper, and it was in a cup, and they lifted the lid off, and my child, I'm not lying, ran over there and squished this dang grasshopper in front of the boys and the parents. I was mortified. I was so embarrassed, and I tried to explain, like, she's like, she doesn't know, and they're like, well, how she know to squish them? Like, well, we kind of taught her ants and spiders to squish, just not like your grasshopper. So like they just do some really funny things, I think, when they grow up on the ranches, because they just don't, I don't know, it was just so hilarious. I was so glad we were at a rodeo, because I mean, oh my gosh, I still am mortified about it, because I still remember seeing these little boys' faces like, what did you do?
It's so funny you mentioned that. The other day, Case, which is Oakley's brother, was holding a grasshopper, and she told him to put it down. She said, down. And as soon as he put it down, she stomped it and twisted her foot around, and she said, bug. Well, grasshopper, and sometimes they do cause trouble when they eat the crops, and it was just there's so many learning moments on the ranch.
Did you struggle at all? Because I know that you had lived you hadn't lived on a ranch, right, before.
No.
You had not lived on a ranch, and then for those that haven't been to y'all's place, when you have land and it's like a ranch, you go down a dirt road, it's the real deal ranch. When I first went to yours and Ty's place, I was thinking, man, this is like such a change for Paige. Like, how is she adjusting to this?
Yeah, so I did not grow up in a rodeo family. My grandmama had 2 horses, and she lived what we called the country. But it's in South Carolina, the country isn't like the country here. There's not ranches. It's a couple 100 acres is a big deal, and no one really runs a bunch of cattle. It's nothing like this. And so I just always loved horses and animals, and knew I wanted to have a ranch so I could just have as many animals as I wanted to. And so honestly, the adjustment wasn't hard at all. I'm thankful that we still live you can get to town in 10 or 15 minutes. So we're not too secluded where doing your everyday errands is hard. And I still like to go to coffee shops and go to town and do some fun things. So we're not too far out, but like I absolutely love living here. It didn't feel like an adjustment. It just felt like where I belonged, and I can have as many animals, running around as I want. And
people ask me about, I have friends that ask me, oh, what's Paige like? And I say that you are an old soul in a young body. And I think that in like the nicest way possible, because I think it's amazing, because I watch you on social media and you're like knitting and cooking and like doing leather work and like doing the things that women used to do back on the ranches that we've kind of lost now. Like there's probably very few people your age that do that or even want to learn it. And I watch you want to do that kind of stuff and learn the ways. And it's really neat, because you definitely are an older soul in a younger body, which is a really rare find.
Thanks, Shea. My sister-in-law, I believe she's watching, Carrie, she describes me that way too. And, it's just what you're passionate about, and you find what brings you joy and makes you excited. And I love knitting, and I love cooking and canning and preserving. And I guess like
scene, that's for sure.
And then you're so inspiring to me, because you have more energy than anyone I've ever met, and you have more get up and go, and you're always positive, and you never seem tired, and you never seem like anything affects you. You're just joyful all the time. And so like you're so inspiring to me of everything that you do, and you keep dreaming, and you're the best mom, and you run this amazing business, and you make the cutest little cowgirl toddler baby boots I've ever seen, and the coolest buckles, and then you sing, and you're just I'm so glad we're friends.
I know. I think it's really important for all the girls out there to really it's important to surround yourself with good girlfriends. And I've never liked that women can have the tall poppy syndrome, I call it. I don't know what you call it in America, where they're jealous of other women being successful. I cannot say I've never been that or done that, because we all have. Yeah. But I really try to just be happy for other women that are successful, because it's hard. So, I mean, I'm happy that one of my best friends looks like you, Paige. Like, I love that we have a friendship and we can throw ideas out there. And I think it's super important for girls to surround themselves with good girlfriends, because I know that will help you become a better person. Surrounding yourself with great people is really important.
I feel that same way.
Yeah, I know if people, if you're struggling or you have questions or just kind of want to follow positive role models, I know that Paige is on social media and their family, like they're kind of like Tyson and I. We don't hide a lot. We put a lot on social media for people to see the good and the bad. So, I mean, follow our pages if you want to live life with us, I guess you could say, or have advice. Your questions are never, they're never dumb to us, and they're never, I mean, we're open books here. So, you'll just follow us, and we want to help you girls and guys become better people and help you go through struggles, because you're not alone, and we've all done it before.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. And I feel like it's something that important to me is being real and honest all the time. I guess authentic, that's a buzzword kind of going around, be your authentic self, but I really believe in it.
Yeah.
Just showing all sides of your life, because I really like lifting people up and making them feel like they're not alone in things, just like you, and that they can relate to me and your highs and your lows in life and everything in between. And I like being someone that people can look at and say, oh, I can feel better about what's going on in my life. This is going on in her life too. And so same with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's super important. And, and if everybody out there listening or watching, if you girls have questions and things that you want to know about, if you girls want to message us or even leave it in a message or comments when we're done, we will do this again for you girls. If you have questions, we're all about answering the questions and being honest and real with you. So if you have questions or need advice, feel free to let us know, because we'd be glad to. I mean, this is great. We get to catch up. We're catching up over coffee, because I got mine. So we're catching up over coffee. You just got to today's technology. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have anything else you want to leave people with, but I know myself, I just am so grateful for you and how honest you are and real you are, and your natural beauty, which is just amazing. To me, I think it's great advice, and you're definitely someone that young women and even older women can look up to, in my opinion.
Thanks, Shea. I feel the same about you. And yeah, we'll do this more. Super fun. Thank you for tuning in.
Now, Paige is headed to Colorado with her little girl on a trip, so let's wish her luck.
Yes. I'm going into it. I've learned to expect the worst, and then when it happens, you're not disappointed. And when it goes great, you're pleasantly surprised, because when you set yourself up for expectations and it doesn't live up to that, it just is like so disappointing. So I just kind of go in expecting the hardest time with her sleeping and everything, but all the memories make it worth it. Yeah.
It's way cooler than Texas, so you will be
Yes.
All right. Well, we appreciate everyone tuning in this evening, and be sure to check out Paige. She is on Facebook and Instagram, and you can check out my pages as well. Be sure to go to Amazon and look up her book. It is called Southern Fried Skinny Fried. So she'll probably put a link up on her Facebook if you guys want to see it. Be sure to check it out. And then if you haven't already heard my brand new single, be sure to head to YouTube and watch the music video or stream it online.
Yes, it's so great. So great. Bye, everybody.
Girls and guys.
Love you, girl. Bye.